final reconstruction that you were able to do, correct? You would agree with me that there's one section of that taillight that was missing completely, correct?
Correct.
And that missing section is noticeably visible in your reconstruction, is it not?
Yes.
And do you still have that laser pointer there?
I do.
Would you please point to the section of taillight that's missing? Okay. Appears to be a hole on the upper left side of that exhibit.
Is that a question?
Yes, it actually was. I should have said right or correct, but I didn't.
Yes.
Okay. And you would agree with me, and if we could zoom back out, Mr. Bates, you would agree with me that the portion of taillight that you did not have was strictly on the rear side of the taillight, if I can call it that.
I am not sure what orientation that goes on to a car.
Okay. But in any case, to this day, you do not know where the pieces that make up that hole are or what happened to them, correct?
I do not.
Okay, it's time for the tail of the taillight. Okay, what you were just looking at were all the pieces that were recovered of the taillight and put back together. But they did not have every piece of the taillight. It's supposed to be all red. But as you saw there was a little sliver that was still white. So when they recovered all these pieces, they did not recover all the pieces. Now, both sides, the prosecution and Karen Reed's side, agree that the taillight was broken. The question is, how broken was it? Okay? Karen Reed saying it's just broken by a little sliver from backing into John O'Keefe's car. The prosecution is saying it was really broken. All those pieces were missing before Michael Proctor and the state troopers got custody of the SUV. Kerry Roberts testified about that today because she said she saw that taillight before it was taken by the police. And she says, well, take a listen to what she says.
Recognize what is in that photo?
That is Karen's SUV.
Is it similar or a fair and accurate depiction of how you saw the vehicle that morning?
Without the snow, I can't be positive, but this square piece was missing, as is in this picture.
The photograph you look at is not the car in the snow in the driveway the day you saw it.
Correct.
Putting that aside, is that a fair and accurate depiction of the damage that you saw to the right rear taillight of Ms. Reed's car that morning?
Yes.
Okay, so what picture is Hank Brennan showing to Kerry Roberts? It's the picture on the right. So Kerry Roberts is saying the picture on the right, that's the taillight that I saw. Now the picture on the left is all the pieces recovered except for that one sliver. The one on the left, Karen Reed is saying that's what the taillight looked like in the driveway, not on the right. So here's the question now. What would that SUV look like if all the pieces that were recovered were put back on it except for the missing piece? Well, we did it for you. Let's take a look. Let's put that piece there. This is what Karen Reed is saying the taillight looked like in the driveway that morning. A sliver, just a piece is missing, not all of those pieces that were recovered at 34 Fairview. Why is this significant? Because we have video of the taillight that morning. Karen Reed here is backing up. This is where she says she cracks the taillight. Let's take a look. She's backing up, and John O'Keefe's car is behind her. People can debate whether or not there's contact. You know, you believe what you believe. We've seen it many, many times. Now, as she's pulling away, keep an eye on that right tail light. Does it look like it's just got a sliver missing or a big chunk missing? That's the case. That's the case, folks. So let's take a look one more time. Are we taking a look at it one more time? Let's do it one more time, folks. Take a look. Got my think tank next to me. What are you thinking? Tell me what you're seeing.
Listen, I'm a horrible driver, and I've hit a lot of things.
Yeah, but what do you see when the car turns
I
around?
don't
Is that a
think
little
she's hit.
sliver or a big chunk?
I think it's a definite maybe either way, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Of course it
I
matters.
don't think
It
she's
does.
hit
It's the most
anything.
important thing that
No,
matters.
it's not.
There's
What
not much
matters is
taken away over there.
veracity. What matters is whether or not she hit him, regardless of whether
Yes.
she meant to
There's
or not.
But you've got to prove that she hit him. How are you going to prove it? Where was the taillight broken?
You have
It
to
wasn't
believe,
broken there.
You have to believe that it's a total coincidence that she backed up 60 feet and then stopped, but didn't hit him, and that somehow the taillight, they got to his
I
body.
get it. You're looking at everything. I'm just looking at the taillight. I want to figure this out. Let's take a look now. We have some still frames from the car pulling away. So on the right, that's how the video looks. So take a look at that. Is that a little sliver or a big piece that is missing there?
I see nothing there.
I see nothing there.
I see nothing. All
I
right,
see no
let's do the
damage.
overlay.
I see no damage.
Let's put the broken pieces back on it. And is there any change? Is there any change? Or does it look the same?
Do it again.
It's perhaps brighter now that the overlay is there, but I see nothing.
I see nothing
I
as
see
well.
nothing, man.
Okay. So let's take a listen now to Karen Reed. She was interviewed, and prosecutors want to use this or using this as evidence, talking about what happened to the pieces of the taillight. Let's take a listen.
When my car was seized, there was a few small pieces of taillight missing that I had picked out at John's at 5:45 before we drove over to Fairview. I'm showing Jim and Terry, look what I just did to my light, and I'm worried that there's gonna be some kind of electric short circuit. There's like the bulb is showing, and some of the red plastic's missing. So I picked pieces out of the light housing that had kind of collapsed within the light and dropped them in John's driveway.
Well,
She really should not have said anything. It makes it worse for the whole defense.
I mean, here we are, we're drinking, and I think I remember what I said, but maybe I don't remember. That, to me, is the problem. They were drinking, and what they
where's
say...
the missing piece? Does anyone know?
No, but who cares? In that sense,
It makes sense that it would have been.
12 people in the jury box want to know where the missing piece
Listen,
is. Is the
that-
missing piece? Why didn't they find it at the scene?
but
And
would
why didn't they
have?
find it
There
at the,
was
on the
a
driveway?
blizzard. You have lived in the Northeast.
So many things
Yes.
get lost. Listen, I know her attorneys, by the way, told her not to talk. The fact that she was doing these interviews means she is so narcissistic. She had to have her story
It's
out.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
She
and
did those
there's
interviews.
no way
And
Ellen
they
Jackson
were
would have let her
using them
do
in
it.
the trial.
Can we take a look at that Sally Port picture? I see it's queued up. Let's take a look at that. Can we take a look at that Sally Port picture if we have it? Because this is the picture. Again, this is what Karen Reed, there's that's it put together. How about the picture of it now in the Sally Port? Oh, there's a close. That's a good close-up of the missing piece.
Dun, dun,
the missing
dun.
sliver. And it's important. You can say it's not important, but is that what you saw pulling out of the
No.
driveway?
No. No.
For sure.
All right.
That's my vote.
I think
no.
she hit him.
She
Well-
definitely hit him. Whether
Yeah.
she meant to do it or not is another story.
Okay,
Agreed.
if that's not what the car looked like pulling out of the driveway, how did all those pieces end up not on her right taillight?
Well, that's the $64,000 question of why we're
Well,
in trial.
the $64,000 answer from the defense is that Trooper Michael Proctor was behind there. You see him in the
All- but
video.
Remember, all we need to do is reasonable doubt as defense attorneys, and there's lots of it here.
Vinny, it's more believable that Bigfoot killed him than Michael Proctor broke that taillight, in my
Exactly.
All
opinion.
right, now I'm showing you a split of what a taillight looks like when it's totally intact. That's on the left. And what they say it looked like in the driveway that day on the right.
Different taillight, different side of the car,
It's a
different angle,
side.
different camera angle,
I
different
get
lighting.
it.
Yes.
But is there any way that the one on the right and the left would look the same in a video if they were like this,
No, if
pulling
it-
away?
if it was
the
pulling
car is
away.
pulling away like we see it in the
Yes.
video.
If it was pulling away with all that white showing, it would have had a different light. It would have been more white. In my humble
But it's
opinion,
not. So
it's
who
not.
pulled the piece? Why did the pieces?
But that's what kills her case, though. Is her own daggone mouth. If
No,
she
no.
had
Why does that
both.
kill her case?
They
Because
gave
she
her
doesn't
enough
know
rope to hang herself.
She
Thank
doesn't
you.
know when to be quiet. She doesn't know how to speak.
It helps
She
the
is so
prosecution.
How did
narcissistic.
the rest of the red pieces get detached from the
But
right
I don't think the
taillight?
prosecution needs to worry about that. If they play
I think
more,
they need a lot
and
of worrying
more
about
of
that.
her talking, that's
All
what's
right.
going to sink her ship.
What a great job. Michael J. for making the trip in.
Yes.
Great to see you.
Thanks, guys.
Meg Strickler, Darrell Cohen, thank you so much. All right.